Okay, welcome. So today I'm going to talk about some China travel tips, as well as talking about just some of my experiences traveling in Asia. I've been to Shanghai in China a couple of times. I've been to Hunan province, to the city of Changsha, also in China. In Japan, I've been to both Osaka and Kyoto. So I just want to talk about some general tips here, and a lot of these you can probably apply to any country. So, unfortunately, yes, I do have to put the glasses on to read here. Okay, so my first tip is when you get to your hotel, wherever you're going, is get a business card from the hotel or some stationery with the hotel address on it in the local language. And that way, if you get lost, you can just show somebody, here's the stationery and here's the address, how do I get there? And hopefully they can at least point you in the right direction. My first time in Shanghai was in 2001, and I was with somebody at the time, and her company had an office over there, so she could go to work for the day. So she dropped me off in Shanghai in an area called Yuyuan, which is like a nice touristy area where they have some great dumplings and all that. So I suggest you go there if you're going to Shanghai. And then she went to work, and she said, well, when you're coming home on the cab, just show the cab driver the business card in the hotel, and they'll know how to take you back. So that helped a lot. And then another time I was in Changsha in Hunan province, and I actually got lost. I'd just gone for a walk, and I walked past where I was supposed to turn, and I didn't realize it. And I walked another few blocks, and I was kind of, wow, I don't know where I am. But good thing I had the stationery from the hotel, and I just showed it to a policeman. And while he was speaking to me in Chinese, and I don't really speak Mandarin, I was at least able to say, okay, is it this way or this way? And he pointed me at least in the right direction. So good to do that. Okay, now let's just talk about currency conversion. So, of course, you should have at least some of the local currency with you before you go there. Don't count on like the bank being being open in case your flight is late or something like that. Now, you might say, well, I can just change money in the airport. Yes, you can, but realize that airports don't generally give you the best exchange rate. Generally, the best exchange rate is going to be at a bank, or you can go to like an Amex office, which is what I did. And the exchange rate I got at the Amex office was pretty close to going to a bank, and the bank was much further away. Realize if you go to a bank, though, that a lot of times you have to order the currency beforehand. Like if you're going into a Bank of America, you can't just walk into B of A and say, give me, $2,000 worth of Chinese RMB, which is the local currency. The RMB translates into something like the people's money. Anyway, because they may not have it, but you can order it through them. They'll charge you a fee, but you can order it. You just tell them how much you want and when you're going to pick it up. Okay, next thing, of course, is just be flexible. Realize you're on vacation, you're in a foreign place. You're not going to have everything the way you have it at home. Some people go and then they go and they say, oh, the shower over there was this or that, or realize not everything's going to be just like in your place. You're going to someplace else to have a different, fun experience. You're going to have some good things happen. You're going to have some bad things happen. You got to be a little bit flexible. You're going to be on a plane. They're trying to make the seats smaller and smaller these days. You're going to be next to people you don't know. Just try to be courteous to people and be flexible. Okay. Obviously, knowing at least a few words or common phrases of the local language is certainly going to help. Obviously, if you're fluent, that's going to help a lot. But even if you just know a few words, it can help. For example, I was in Changsha. I was in a place called Love's Bakery. I just wanted to get coffee, so I just said coffee, and they understood that. But then they handed me a black coffee, and I wanted to get some milk in it, so I understood the word for milk was Leoni. So I just said Leoni, and then they gave me some milk. So just having the basic one word helped me to get what I want. Okay. When I first landed, actually, in Changsha, I got there about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, got to the hotel, actually, and I wanted to get something to eat, so I just walked across the street from the hotel. I was staying at the Crown Plaza City Center, Changsha, walked across the street, and there's a chicken place, like a Hunan spicy chicken place. I forget the name of it. It's similar to a KFC, but not KFC, although they do actually have plenty of KFC in China, although it's a little bit different. They don't necessarily have big buckets of chicken. You can just get little pieces, like what, a 2-piece order, 3-piece order chicken, but they do have KFC, because I actually went in there. But anyway, this particular chicken place, I went in and I looked at the menu, didn't really see exactly what I wanted, so I looked at the cash register, and there was a picture of a chicken breast, and then it said, you know, how many RMB it was, and I did the conversion, and it was like equivalent of $2 US. So I said, well, I'm just going to have 2 of those. So I just pointed to what I wanted and went 2, and she rang it up right away. But then she started asking me an additional question. And I thought what she was saying is like, do you want a drink with that? Do you want fries with that? And I just kept going like this, no, 2 of this, you know. And then it turns out what she was asking me was, is that for here or to go? So finally she said, you know, and whatever the word was she used, or like that. And I was like, oh, for here, yes, for here. And then we both laughed. But obviously if I had known how to say, I want to eat here, that would have helped. Okay, let's see. Watch out for the Gypsy Cabs. When I got to Changsha, the good thing was they had both in Chinese and in English, it said taxi, so I had no problem seeing where to go to get the taxi. It'll say taxi this way, buses this way, or limos, but when I got there, I started walking toward where the taxis were, and a guy said, taxi? And I, of course, went, yeah. And then he takes my bag and starts leading me in a different direction, and I got suspicious right away, and I probably should have just stopped him right there, but I ended up going. I got in the cab, and then they wanted me to pay up front, which should have been another tip-off, but at that point I didn't want to get out of the cab, because I said if I get out of the cab, he has my bag in his trunk, and he may just take off or something, so I just said, okay, I'm just going to go with it, and I think I ended up paying something like 2 or 3 times the normal rate. You know, it was foolish, but once again, I certainly won't do that again. Just watch out for those Gypsy Cabs. Actually get your cab at the taxi dispatch stand, okay? Don't go with anybody around the hanging around the stand. Okay. Next thing, and this goes for travel anywhere. Any cop will tell you, just be aware of your surroundings. Okay. My mom, obviously, you know, she's older, and she was in that area, Yuyuan, in Shanghai, and she had her purse, and she's holding onto her purse, but she also had a camera around her arm, you know, hanging by the holder there. So she said she was paying a lot of attention to her purse and making sure that she was clutching her purse, but wasn't really looking on her camera because it was hanging on her arm. And of course, somebody took a scissors and just cut the thing, and she didn't even realize it. So it wasn't like a violent crime, like they hit her or anything, but they just cut the string and took her camera. So just you know, be aware. If you're anywhere, you know, I don't care if you're in Atlanta, you're in Washington, you're in China, Japan, you shouldn't be walking around by yourself at 3 a.m. because, you know, that's when stuff happens, you know, so just use common sense. And the other thing you have to realize, if you come from a city, I live in L.A., you live in L.A., you live in New York, you live in Washington, Miami, Atlanta, you are probably in more danger now than if you went to a place like either China or Japan. For example, your chance of being killed by gun in a place like Japan almost non-existent. It's something like probably getting hit by lightning 3 times in a row. It almost never happens. Probably more so in China, but you have a greater chance, but still probably not even as dangerous as the U.S. So you're probably in more danger where you are, so don't worry about going to China or Japan, okay? Last thing I want to say is just don't leave your laptop, your iPhone, your iPad, or any electronic devices in your room or unattended. That's just common sense, but people do that. I can't tell you how many people I know that have lost their iPhones. I actually knew somebody, she put 3 iPhones in her bag to go to China. She was going to give them to her relatives, and she also put like a little Nintendo, you know, Game Boy or something in there. So a few $100s worth of stuff. And of course, she checked her bags at LAX, and all that stuff was missing when she got to Shanghai on the other end, so it got stolen by the baggage handlers at LAX. So, and a few years later, it came out that a lot of the baggage handlers at LAX were going through people's luggage. So don't put valuable stuff in your luggage, and don't leave it in your room. Things like a laptop, iPhone, iPad. Why do crooks steal these things? They steal them because they know they can sell them easily. They can steal your iPad and put it up on eBay and sell it within a couple of hours. Okay, so that's the tips I have for you today. Hope you have a great trip, and thanks for watching.